LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network, presents a SIRTOBA Media production where the struggle is real to be awesome.
5, 4, 3, 2.
The wait is over.
Yeah, it's a little chilly out here. It feels fantastic out here.
Get your popcorn ready. It's time for the In or Out sports debate with your hosts.
Hello, everybody. Darrell, Owens, LegacyMaker Sports Network, along with Drew Willingham.
Welcome, one and all, to this special holiday edition of the In or Out Sports Debate. We are in episode 17. I'm joined today by our program director. He is a man who needs no introduction, former Mr. Rollback for Walmart Supercenters. He is Mr. Darrell Owens. Darrell, welcome to the show today, my man.
Hey, what's up, Drew, man? Look, it's a pleasure to be on, man. 4th of July, let the fireworks begin, sir.
And we have got some fire topics today that we have got to go through. But before we do that, we need to make some acknowledgement to our Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
And here in the Vault of Fame, we give acknowledgement to the previous participants in the In or Out Sports Debate. And with that, through 1 through 11, we have Rob Johnson, 12 and 15, Mr. Tyrone Montgomery Jr., episode 13, Corey Mann, episode 14, Greg Anthony, the Golden Boy. And previously with episode 16, we have the Snowman, Mr. Brian Snow. And also to announce tomorrow evening, we have 2 episodes, Double Debate Tuesdays going on tomorrow. Episode 18, we have Brian H. Waters of the Wrestling Realm. And we also have Paul Schofield in episode 19, episodes 18 and 19 tomorrow, 6 o'clock for Brian H., 8 o'clock for Paul Schofield. Those are going to be some fire episodes tomorrow. I'm definitely looking forward to those.
Yeah, Brian is a wealth of wrestling knowledge. That should be a very fun episode. Really good guy. Paul, man, we got to get Paul a new picture, man. We got to talk to Paul because
so much time has gone by since Paul's been up in here.
That picture's at least 15 years old. I'm not.
And with that, we do have some great topics that we're going to talk about today, and I'm ready to get rolling into round one.
Round 1.
And to start it off with a team that Darrell is very familiar with, the Green Bay Packers, with Aaron Rodgers confirming his loyalty by stating he'll retire with the Packers, will eventually result in a championship celebration. Darrell, how do you feel about that? Are you in or are you out?
Okay, so double whammy here. I am as a as a journalist, I am out. But as a fan of the Green Bay Packers, I am in, sir.
Okay.
Looking at this situation, Aaron Rodgers has, I guess some people would say he's held the franchise hostage over the last year. Definitely not the truth, but yes, the truth at the same time. Aaron Rodgers knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted to be there for the long term. He wanted to be a Green Bay Packer for life. That's what he wanted. He got exactly what he wanted. Yes, losing Devontae Adams is going to be tough, but I really do think that we're going to see the best Green Bay Packer team we've probably seen in a couple of years because Aaron is going to be forced to move the ball around. And like I tell people before, I think that you look at this Packers team, if you want to know what this team is going to look like this year, is going to be go back to that Arizona game from last year, and that's what this Packer team is going to look like. All about defense, Aaron spreading the ball around, dumping it to Aaron Jones in the backfield, handing it off to A.J. Dillon. That's what that team is going to be about. Championship, though, man, I'm in on it because as a Packer fan, I need number 5. I need number 5. But the journalist side of me says, what have you done for me lately? And it's been last time. Look, let's put it this way. The last time Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, I just started being Mr. Rollback. And that was 12 years ago. So let's just put it that way. So I'm in on it as a Packer fan, out as a journalist.
Hey, at least when you were starting out, Mr. Rollback, you were starting on a high note, though, as a fan.
Right. It was good times, man. It was good times.
So it made that trip that you had, they sent on their dime even more special. So that was,
right.
That's awesome. you know, with that, I've got to disagree. I've got to go with your journalistic side. I'm out. And with that being said, you know, Aaron Rodgers is 85 touchdowns to 9 interceptions in the past 2 seasons. But like you said, he won't have Devontae Adams anymore. He's now with the Las Vegas Raiders. He's also thrown for nearly 8,500 yards in the past 2 seasons. But a lot of that's going to change now that Devontae is gone. I don't see him throwing for over 4,000 yards this upcoming season. If it does, it's going to be a true testament to what he is as a quarterback and what he will say for his Hall of Fame career. I will say this, like you're going for number 5. Aaron Rodgers needs number 2 to take him to that next level above Brett Favre. Right now, he's only as good as Brett Favre. Okay, he hasn't even gotten to the numbers yet that Brett Favre had, but at the same time, he's got that 1 Super Bowl. So neck and neck with Brett Favre, in my opinion, as far as the caliber quarterback, but you need that 2nd Super Bowl to get to the next echelon. And without that top tier wide receiver, and with things changing, even though you signed that contract to state that you will be retiring as a Packer, I'm just not in on the fact that he's not going to get that championship. I would like to, for you as a fan, for you to be able to celebrate that, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
Hey, look, I want it bad, and but I'll be honest with you, I agree with you 100%, man. Like I said, the fan of me is going to be in all day, but the out part, it's just, you look at this team and who's going to be the receiver that steps up, because that's what it comes down to. A lot of pressure is going to go on to Allen Lazard. People are going to say, man, Allen Lazard, this is your time to shine. He's the number 1 receiver right now in most people's eyes. We did sign Sammy Watkins, but and I'll take this from a friend of the network, the co-founder here, Jay always says he's broken, and it's true. My man is always hurt. So it's just like, I want to see Sammy Watkins, because we see what he can do, but it's going to be up to the young guys, Christian Watson, and also Romeo Dubs. So I think Dubs might be a guy that can shine, but we're going to see, man. I mean, it's early. I'm hoping for the best.
Time will tell. I've got high hopes because Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, and I give him that. He's in my top 10. Like when I first started with this network, and one of the first videos I did was the top 10. Go back and look. Aaron Rodgers is in my top 10. So people were calling that a little bit premature. I feel like he's rated that high up. He's just not quite at Brett Favre level yet. With that being said, speaking of greats, we've got a pretty good topic for this one to talk about greats.
Round 2.
This one's a pretty interesting one, Darrell, and this is for probably what I would call the Babe Ruth of our generation. And Shohei Ohtani is currently the best active athlete to wear the number 17 of all sports athletes. How do you feel about that? Are you in or are you out? Of all the played that wear the number 17 right now, not of all time, but of right now currently.
I'm out. All right, so and I really had to think about this one a little bit, and the reason why I'm out, and we talked about this in the past, me and you, Drew. It's something about the Angels, man. It's just like the organization as a whole. There's just something wrong with that organization. But with Ohtani, my worry down the road for him is that they may overuse him on the pitching front. Obviously him doing that double work, it's going to take a lot out of him. He's a great player, MVP, all that good stuff. But for me, there's 2 names that come to mind, and they're both in the NFL, and that's Josh Allen and Devontae Adams. I mean, I would put Allen above Adams, but it's just like on a recognition front, people know of Ohtani, but like he's not wide known. Is he probably the best active player over? Yeah, and in a lot of people's eyes. But I got to go to the person that sticks out and has shown so much in the last couple of years. I'm going with Josh Allen, man. I'm all about the Josh Allen show.
I've got to disagree. I'm all about the long ball. I'm in. Darrell, you know I love football. Okay, I'm probably a homer for football and fantasy and all sorts of stuff we could talk about. I could talk about more football than baseball all day of the week, but I've got more passion and more love and more play for baseball as we've talked about. And the fact that we've got somebody who's multidimensional here, who can pitch and who can throw. He's not that good against the New York Yankees, but he is still a good he's still a good pitcher. Okay, well, he's got 22, nearly 22 scoreless innings pitched right now in the past 4 games. I think he threw a no-hitter up into 6 innings in the last game as well, and had a .38 ERA going into that game or whatnot in the 4 games of those stats. So to be able to do that, to be able to hit the long ball, to be able to play in the field, and to be able to pitch and do all this stuff in a faster paced game. It's a much different game than when even Babe Ruth played.
Right.
Football, I'm sorry, is pussified compared to what it was 20 years ago. All right. So it is not the same of what it was. So it's not the same of what it was before. So I like Josh Allen. I like your Devontae Adams picks, and I do like your argument there, but I'm not sold. That's why I'm going with in. I'm sticking with Shohei Ohtani on this. I gotta show love for my man who can do both parts of the game.
I love Ohtani, man. I don't want to take anything from him. We almost signed him. Seattle almost signed him, but the Angels won that war. Would love him in Seattle. He would have been a god in Seattle, especially with Ichiro. And it's just, for me, it's just something. I think how bad the team is takes away from how truly great he can be. And my point to that is, look at Mike Trout. We know Mike Trout's a multiple-time MVP, but him is just something about that organization. And I would throw Bryce Harper in there sometimes, yeah, we know Bryce Harper is great, but what are the Phillies really doing? Well, right now, when I'm thinking like the baseball stud, the first person that comes to mind is Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees. They're killing it right now. I love what I see from them. But overall, if you're taking everything else out, Ohtani is the man. I mean, I know I wouldn't be able to do what my man's out there doing right now, but it's just, you got to do it on a high level and carry your team. And unfortunately, that Angels team just
Aaron Judge can't throw 101-mile-an-hour fastball.
No, he can't.
Ohtani can. Ohtani can. He's like Randy Johnson and Griffey put together.
What? That's saying a lot.
He's different orientation, but I like his swing though. He doesn't have as smooth of a swing as Griffey. But if you could put those two together and like morph them, that's like the closest thing I think we have with Ohtani.
I'll give you that.
And before we go to round 3, we got some breaking news. And that breaking news is we want to announce next week's participant in episode 20 on Monday. We have Mr. Wyatt Akinso of the Urban Sports Scene next Monday, 7-11 day at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Mr. Wyatt Akinso, who Mr. Darrell Owens, because we did that episode together. We're talking about the Washington Commanders, and we will be talking some Washington Commanders and Washington sports on that episode as well.
Yeah, Wale's good people, man. Wale is a great guy, very in touch with the sports talk, but with Commanders, with the Commanders. He's done a lot of great things there, all burgundy and red. He has a great podcast with Fox Sports 1340 out there in Hopewell. So yeah, it should be a good show.
Definitely looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to what we got to talk about next here with round 3. Let's see what your thoughts are with the sport of golf.
Round 3.
Going into golf, Tiger Woods should be recognized as one of the greatest comeback players ever. And how do you feel about that, Darrell? Are you in or are you out on that?
Out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why I'm out here, because on the injury front, you look and see what he obviously to come back from the whole situation with his wife the first time, and then be able to come back, and then eventually it took him a couple years, but he did win a major eventually. He's come back the second time. It hasn't been great this second time, but the first person that comes to mind for me in this situation as a comeback person is none other than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan left the sport on top of his game, went to play baseball for 2 years, came back, took about another 2 years, wins 3 more championships, leaves again, takes about a year off, comes back with the Wizards and he got the Wizards to the playoffs. We weren't expecting him to win the championship with the Wizards. I mean, a lot of people probably were, but he's the first person that comes to mind when I think of a great comeback player, to be able to, to be able to be out of it, come back in. He took 2 years off twice, or a total like 3 or 4 years that he could have brought, maybe stayed in the league. And if he'd have played the whole way through, everybody talks about how LeBron numbers are, but who knows what Jordan numbers would have been, and if he would have took over the number 1 spot, if he played all those 3 or 4 years that he missed out on. So for me, Jordan is the first person that comes to mind when I think about the greatest comeback player. I'll give Tiger some of his due, but Jordan is the one that comes to my mind first.
And I've got to agree with you on that. I'm out on this as well. It's only been like 16, 17 months since that crash that Tiger was in, and it took him out for, up that time until about April of this year when he came back. He's not anywhere close to what he was before. It's a miracle that he's even out on the course to begin with, to be able to be out there and to do the things that he's doing. But he's a shell of himself. It's, in my opinion, it's time for him to start seriously thinking about retirement. Start taking golf as like a retirement game and actually going out there and just chucking it around a little bit with his son. His son's about to be of age to where he can be the next prodigy like Tiger Woods could be, because Charlie's really good at golf too, kind of like how Tiger was at that age. So he could take him under his wing and be like his coach. He could be like Earl to Tiger, how it was back in the day, and how we will be able to announce soon how I could potentially be the same for someone here next week. But that's too much breaking news we don't want to do in one day. We're going to say that for the next episode. But anyway, with that said, I feel like it's time for Tiger to start considering it. And like you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to go with Jordan too, because he took the time off for baseball, tried a different sport. He wasn't great at it, but he wasn't terrible either when he went to baseball. So to be able to have enough athleticism to go to baseball and to be able to pull off what he did, and it was a little bit of a publicity stunt at first. He wasn't terrible. He was still playing decent outfield. You could see the athleticism, because you got to be an athlete to play outfield. You got to be able to run the ball down. So he was doing that. He was hitting the ball over the fence, not like back in that time frame when people were juicing up and hitting them over the fence with every single at bat. But it was still pretty respectable in my opinion. Then he comes back, wins 3 straight championships when he comes back before he hangs it up again. In my opinion, just like you said, it's MJ that gets that title.
Yeah, it's hard for me to go outside of that. I was thinking of a couple of other people, and I don't want to spoil anything for later, but a person that's usually been able to bounce back after taking some years off is the old nature boy Ric Flair. When you come to the wrestling front, but there's he's done it here and there. He took maybe he wasn't in the active competition and he's more of a manager type, but he's come in and he's always performed. But yeah, Jordan's the first one that comes to mind for me, man. I really thought hard about this one, but it was MJ.
And we're right on the same pace with that. And we've got a couple comments from the fans that I do want to acknowledge here at the beginning. So let's go ahead and hit our midway point with the Medial Mayhem. Jay Quimby has commented this morning. He's awake and ready to shine this morning with us here on this show. Jay Quimby says, "Don't write checks, Rodgers. Your ass can't cash." How do you feel about that?
Well, see, I gotta agree with him, man. Like it's one of those things where until I see it, it's a what you've done for me lately league, and in any sport, to be honest with you, in this generation. And so until the money is all great. I'm glad to have him back because he's going to keep the Packers relevant for at least 3 more years until we can figure out if, they're still trying to figure out if Jordan Love is going to be the next guy. And I'm pretty sure they'll pick up his 5th-year option. So he'll probably be the first time in a long time we see a quarterback actually wait the 5 years, but, to actually, get his chance to be the starter or 4 years. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm 100% with Jay on this one, man. It's like, until I can see it, man, like you got to go out there. You got to do it, man. You got to do it for me.
I feel like Jordan Love's going to be the next Brian Greasy, where he comes in after Elway. I'm sorry, Lamont, but if you're watching this, and they make you think about Brian Greasy and Bubby Brister and those other guys that were just kind of riding behind John Elway, and there was so much hype. There was so much hype on Greasy after that Super Bowl win with Elway. I'll never forget that. I was in middle school, but I'll still remember that. Yeah.
No, I don't want Brian Greasy, man. I don't need him to be phenomenal right off the bat. I want him, as long as he can keep us relevant. Once Aaron leaves, I will be good with that. Even if he doesn't produce a Super Bowl or anything out of that, I just want him to keep us relevant. Please, figure it out, Aaron. Get Jordan straight before you decide to run away.
And Jay left us with one more comment. Let's acknowledge here, and that's the senior tour for Tiger Woods. That's a good call out for that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's going to be his next step, but it just won't be the same. The senior tour doesn't get any love.
He's not going to play in the live golf. He's not doing he's not doing that, thank God. Because everybody else is jumping ship, it seems like.
$2 billion, man. Look, you're a better man than me. I'd have been gone. I'd have been like, look, I love y'all, but let me get this money. I'll come back.
At this point, you got to think about this when you're Tiger. With everything that happened with him back in the day, he still has a legacy within the PGA. Right. So you would tarnish that potentially if you go do this. Like, there's been so much heat on the other golfers who would jump ship. I feel like that he would catch too much heat, and he's already done enough. He doesn't want to take a chance of even that happening.
He doesn't need any more of that. He doesn't.
Nope. He's established himself as the greatest golfer. Let's just keep it that way. Let's try to focus away from the other stuff and just behave for the rest of your time here, Tiger. We got you, my man. And with that said, with that being said, with all that, with the medial mayhem, it's time for us to roll it into round 4.
Round 4.
Here with round 4, this one's going to be an interesting one here for us to discuss. Stephen Curry has earned his place in the NBA top 10. Darrell, how do you feel about this? Are you in or are you out on Stephen Curry being in the top 10?
I'm in.
And Darrell actually has a graphic here of his top 10. Let's go ahead and acknowledge what he feels like his top 10. Go ahead and roll through your list right quick.
All right, so this is what I got. It took me a little bit to kind of figure out how I wanted to go with this. And I'm going to just say this. I had the debate between Larry and Tim Duncan. And I love Tim Duncan. I really do. And because, he just did, the fundamentals, he just went out there and did what he had to do. I love Tim Duncan. I wanted to put him at 10, but I felt like I couldn't leave Larry Bird off this list. So that's where my debate kicked in at. I got Steph at 9. What Steph Curry has done for the NBA is special. And when I tell people, there's only a couple players that have really truly changed the game. If we go back and look from the beginning to the end, there's only a couple people that have actually changed the game. Their style of play has changed the game. I'll name a couple. Obviously, Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant kind of, tailored his game after him. Shaq is another person who changed the game. Like, no big man was doing what Shaq was doing. Wilt is another person that changed the game because of his size and the amount of rebounds he was grabbing per game. I want to throw Bill in there, but Bill was dominating. And, obviously the 7 championships, all that good stuff. But the 11 championships, and all that good stuff. But for me, it was, Mike, Shaq, LeBron also changed the game with, with this style and, how ferocious he was going to the basket and with a comment. He's like a stronger Magic Johnson, a more powerful Magic Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but I say all that to say this, Steph Curry changed the game. Let's think about it. Who was really going out here shooting threes from their grandma's house? Or from their grandma's house during games. It was only like Steph Curry. There was occasionally somebody throw up a half-court shot. Nobody was brave enough to say, you know what, I'm about to go out here and easily will go out here and just shoot the three-pointer from anywhere on the court without hesitation. We've seen all the warm-ups and everything he does, but I think a lot of the young NBA, young basketball / NBA fans watch Steph Curry. And now you're starting to see a lot more of players taking these threes, without any regard. And it's because Steph Curry changed that game. Like it's still a flashy dunk game, but it's way more of a 3-point game than it's ever been because of Steph Curry. So I got Bird, Curry, I got Wilt at 8, Shaq at 7, Russell at 6, Magic at 5, LeBron at 4, Kobe at 3, Kareem at 2, and Michael at 1. And so that's my top 10. It's tough, but that's what I went with.
I am probably going to catch some heat for this, but I am out. And shout out to Darrell as well for making this top 10 for me that I submitted to him. And this is, I'll go through my list real quick. I've got Tim Duncan in my top 10 instead of Steph. Everybody else we agree on just a different kind of order is how ours goes. So I've got Tim Duncan in there for the amount of championships Tim Duncan won. He won 5 NBA championships and 3 NBA Finals MVPs. To me, he was the catalyst of those 5 championships. One with pretty much 3 different types of teams, in my opinion, because you had David Robinson, you had the one with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, but then towards the end, you also had Kawhi Leonard. So you had 3 different types of mixtures that he had to adapt to within his play style in his career for him to be able to get those 5 championships. Larry Bird's got 5 NBA champions. Does he have 5? Or does he have 4? I think he's got 5.
Which one is that? You said
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird, I think, only has 3.
He has 3. Okay, so what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So between him, Wilt only has 2. Not Rick. We have LeBron who has 4 and Steph who has 4. That's why I had to kind of salvage into these next 9 with Larry and the way he was in his career, what he changed with his position in the game, with Wilt and how he was. Shaq was dominant force in those 3-peats, and then also for the Miami Heat, you have Bill Russell, who was a catalyst and also a part coach, and then the coach towards the end of his career. Right. They got all those championships for them. LeBron, who only has 4, is in my top 5 because of what he's done for the game. You do say that for Steph and what he's done for the 3-point game, but he only has 1 MVP. That's the one thing that, even though he got that MVP, and that's why people are saying that he earned his place into the top 10 in many people's eyes, I still feel like he needs a second one to get into my top 10 because Tim Duncan has 3 MVPs along with multiple NBA Finals MVPs. Then you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was a 6-time champ, Magic, who was 5, Kobe, who was 5, and of course the GOAT, Jordan, at 1. And we can have that debate with LeBron and Jordan all day long, but in my opinion, that is my top 10, and I'm sticking to it guns blazing at this current time on 4th of July.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I know people probably like, well, how you got LeBron at 4 or 5? But look, here's the thing, man. Look at Kareem. Like, people sleep on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with an A. And so people Jabber, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem, people sleep on him, and to be honest with you, and Kareem said it, I think a couple of weeks ago. I still have the most points all time. LeBron's still probably another year or 2 away, he's close though, from taking over that spot. But people sleep on Kareem, and to be honest with you, Kobe is a Jordan clone. Some would say Kobe was a little bit more clutch than some people would say Kobe was a little bit more clutch than Jordan. I won't say that, but I would understand if the argument with there. And then Magic, it's just like, for me, Magic and LeBron are kind of interchangeable to an extent because to me, they're the same player, except for LeBron's a little bit stronger and Magic had a little bit more finesse. So those are the only different. They're both 6'9", 6'8". They both can move up and down the floor. They both can handle the point. They both can play inside. They can do everything on the floor. The only difference is Magic's an inch taller, and that one's finesse and one's just straight strength. And so for me, it was kind of hard to flip that, but I wanted to give LeBron a little bit of a nod. That's why I put him at 4.
Yeah, LeBron's in my top 5 because even though he's playing in a more, like we were talking about earlier, like the way sports overall is more of a pussified, with the way of NBA and both football. Okay, both of those sports. I mean, kind of all sports have gotten a little bit softer from what they were, but those are the 2 main sports affected, in my opinion, is NBA and football. But the reason why I have LeBron in there is because of what he's meant to the sport. You know, he's got 4 championships, several MVPs. He can play all 5 positions on the court. His basketball IQ is top notch. He could be a coach, an owner, a broadcaster, whatever he wanted to be when he hangs up, you know, his uniform one day. So the sky's the limit for what he can do as an entrepreneur or within the game of basketball. Whatever he decides to do, he can do whatever he wants. So in my opinion, because you throw all those things, what you said, and because of what I said, that's why I agree with you. He's at 5 for me and in my top 5. I don't have him quite as high as you do, but I'm not far off either. So we're pretty similar with how our 1 through 9 is, at least. It's just we differ on that one with Steph and Tim Duncan. That's the only really difference.
And I love Tim Duncan, Drew. I swear I do. Like because he just went about his business, you know. That's why I almost did it as a slash. I was about to say, well, you know, he's tied at 10, but I didn't want to be that person. He's definitely 11. He's definitely 11. But God.
I'm not a fan of him as a coach yet, especially with that wild hairdo that he has. Whatever he was rocking when he was taking over to that one game.
He was wearing blazers and jeans, man.
Yeah.
What you doing, Tim?
Yeah. You have to tighten up, Timmy.
Come on, Timmy. Come on, Timmy.
Now, before we go to our final round, we do have a bonus one. And because you and I are a fan of wrestling, I had to bring this one, especially because both of us like this dude right here.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Every time, I love
it. Just for S&Gs, we gotta do it one more time.
Surprise, motherfucker.
That's a great way to wake up this morning. You don't need Folgers. We just need our man from Dexter right there. That's all we need. But with that being said, our bonus round, Bray Wyatt returns to WWE at SummerSlam. How do you feel about this, Darrell? With us being a fan of him, do you think like it's time to let him back in at SummerSlam?
Oh, well, it's definitely time to let him back in. But
do you think we will? Do you think we will, though?
I'm out, man. I'm out. Man, I want to be in so bad on this, man. I want to be in so bad on this, Drew. Is the problem is I don't know if I trust WWE anymore at this point when it comes to this. And you know, we've been kind of waiting. We've been kind of waiting for a while, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. You know, we saw the vignette the other day at Money in the Bank. A lot of people started getting all giddy, but the more I looked at it, it's all about Edge on that one. You know, you had the Latino Heat sign in
the
there.
Metal gold, the metal Kurt Angle's medal. Yeah,
the Jeff Hardy armrest bad boy was in there, and I'm like,
the Dudley Boys. There was a thing from the Dudley Boys was in there too. Like, so all the victims.
It's like this is just Edge, man. Like, and I love Edge. Don't get me wrong, I love Edge, but please, somebody, bring my Bray Wyatt back. Why do we continue? Why do we continue to, you know, why was he even cut in the first place? Let's get into that. Why was he cut in the first place? Bring Bray Wyatt back, man. Probably one of the greatest guys on the night. I'm not going to say his wrestling skill was off the chain, but in wrestling, and Drew, I think you'll agree with this, you got to have everything, man. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to have a great charisma. You got to be able to have a presence. You got to be able to create a character that everybody, you know, or create a person that everybody believes in. You got to have wrestling skills. Your entrance has got to be sweet. It's a combination to make you great. And Bray Wyatt was great. And every character, maybe not Husky Harris. That was a little bit rough. But from Husky Harris on, you had, Pandora, Fedora, Bray. You know, you had even the fun guy, even the fun house Bray. It was creative. It was like a double twist. The Fiend, so much greatness, and I feel like he's been just disrespected so many times, too many times. But yeah, man, I'm out because I don't trust WWE, but I'm in as a fan because I needed to happen. Bring my guy back.
I like what you're saying, and it's tough for me to disagree on it, but I'm going in. When you really look at it, all right, I think they're trying to throw people off with that vignette from what we saw the other day. Mm-hmm. I think that what would you think about, because Edge is a part-time wrestler. Why are they going to invest so much in a vignette in Edge? Like that was my first thought. Why are you going to invest all this money and all this production into somebody who can only wrestle 3 to 6 times a year? Okay. So, and then especially the way that they just kicked him out of the Judgment Day group. I mean, the way that abruptly ended, it's really kind of quick to be bringing him back, in my opinion, because usually when you do something like that, it's to cover up an injury or just to write him off for a while. So, like the way Bray Wyatt went out at WrestleMania last year. So it's been enough time. It'll be a year and a half since we've seen him if we get him at SummerSlam. The movie stuff that he was working on recently had wrapped up. So a few months back. So he's got the opening. I feel like this could potentially be maybe some type of next level Wyatt family that maybe Edge in a part-time way could participate in. Who knows? But just to keep things interesting, we can't agree about everything. So that's what I'm saying. Like we gotta disagree on this one. I want to disagree on this one. I want to see him at SummerSlam.
Look, you know how I feel about him. I mean, I got my action figures sitting in the corner over there. I've been collecting action figures since I was a kid. I still got them up in the closet. I'm not gonna tell you I still play with them or not because I'm not at that level. But but Bray's been my guy, man, and it just I need him back in wrestling in some form. I don't care if it's with AEW. Heck, it can be NWA. It can be Impact. I don't care. Wrestling is better with Bray Wyatt or Wyndham, whatever he ends up being. I need that. I
feel like they need to make a big splash here because with Cody being hurt and the fact that he was probably touted to win the Money in the Bank, in my opinion, that's why we saw what we saw with Austin Theory. I did not like the way that ended. Now Liv's moment, there's been some arguments or whatnot on social media or whatnot, but even though I like the way that Liv's moment happened, it was because Ronda legitimately got hurt during that match, which is the reason why she cashed in. But I feel like it was still good timing. So because at the beginning of the pay-per-view, she had said that she was going to celebrate this. When she first won, it was kind of a prep. That's why the story's going back and forth with her cashing in because Ronda was legit hurt. I feel like that is true. The way that the Money in the Bank went, I feel like that was more talented to Cody. So going back into what I was saying, like they do need to make some type of big splash because their storylines are not kind of matching up on parallels right now because this should be Cody's time right now. We should be celebrating him tomorrow or tonight on Monday Night Raw is what I feel like we should be celebrating.
I think this was going to be Cody Rhodes' moment. Obviously, they had to change the pants with the injury. Real quick on the Liv thing, I think that, I like the way it happened. I thought it was going to happen at the Bianca match, to be honest with you, because Bianca was limping. I said, this is the time. Even though she said the little celebration thing, I said, she's coming out tonight. Because I'm just going to celebrate. I'm not even going to think about it. No. You lying, little lady. You lying, little lady. Now, I know Ronda did get hurt. I think the only thing that bothered me about the whole situation was just the way, Ronda got up immediately. She lost the match, and, she didn't sell it a little bit. She was just already standing up, holding the belt like this. Here you go. Congratulate. It just felt so, it's like she didn't sell the point. Like a good wrestler, and obviously she has skills, but she doesn't have all the package. She doesn't have all the package. And
she didn't practice it.
Right. If she had done it the right way, I'm hurt. And she had the belt after when she was hurt, and then she kind of and it made it dramatic, I would have felt a little bit better about it. But she would just was celebrating, and I was like, come on, Ronda. Oh, she needs to go heel anyway, but that's another topic for another day.
Ronda's gotten better at her promos and her storyline angle stuff, but it's usually when she's had time to practice it. And I feel like if this would have been something that would have been planned all along, then we would have had a better send off into Liv receiving that title. Even though the fans didn't see any difference with them, they reacted in a great way. It was a great moment for them at the end. Because everybody's been wanting this for a while. We've been talking about for a while how they've been kind of dangling that carrot above her for a while. And they've been kind of screwing her over. It was about time. She deserved it.
Yeah, she deserved it. This was her moment. I'm glad she got it. The fans she's way over with the fans. She probably should have beat Becky Lynch a couple months back when they had the opportunity to really do it, but I'm glad she got it this way. So congratulations to Liv Morgan and as the new SmackDown champion. So congratulations, Liv.
The final road to the championship. And speaking about final, we've got one more round to go into, the final round.
Final round.
This one, the Nature Boy. Ric Flair's final match will be a better retirement ending than what transpired in TNA. The match that he has at the end of this month has been highly public for the past month or so since they really announced it. How do you feel about this? Do you feel this is going to be a better send-off than what happened in TNA?
I am in on that.
Okay.
I will truly be worried about Ric Flair in the ring because he's 73 years old. I'm gonna throw that out there first. But in the end, the Nature Boy Ric Flair is a consummate professional. He's taking this time to train, to get himself together. As a fan of wrestling, the perfect send-off was the Shawn Michaels match. And then it's hands down. It was poetic. It was beautiful. I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even think about the TNA match being his last match. I erased that out of my mind. Like, in my mind, nothing will top Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24. Probably one of my top 5 matches. And it has nothing to do with maybe overall wrestling, but just the storytelling they did in that match was absolutely phenomenal. So for me, that'll always be his last match. Even if this match is a disaster or good or whatever, to me, that match is his last match and nothing will change it. The send-off at Raw, all that good stuff. Now, I say all that to say I'm in because Ric Flair wants to erase what happened in TNA out of everybody's mind. And I think he wants to end it his way. And I can understand it. He didn't want to end his WWE run. That's why he even went back to TNA, because he wasn't, in his mind, he wasn't done wrestling. So this is a chance for him to finish it right. I'm not 100%. Drew, you may notice, who is he wrestling? Is he wrestling Jay Lethal?
They have not announced that yet. Jay Lethal has been his training partner, but they haven't announced. I think it's going to be like one of those like abrupt things they announce at the show. Like it's going to be this. They're going to probably play an angle at the beginning of it. That's how it's going to work. He's going to be the main event. But I think it's going to be Jay Lethal in some way, whether he's his tag team partner in a tag team match, to kind of give that buffer time, since he is 73 and he shouldn't be doing an entire match by himself. I feel like that would be a better way to do it. But with the fact that they've been training, I feel like Jay Lethal would take much better care of him if he was in a match. And because they've got this rift, because Jay Lethal is upset kayfabe right now that he is not on the card. I feel this is going to be his way to get on the card. He's going to be fighting Ric Flair, since they haven't announced, and that's going to be my guess.
Yeah, it would be smart. I trained you. I got you to this point. I mean, I can see it. And I'm like, and as a fan, I'm like, okay.
I can impersonate you the best too. Like, yeah.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's one of the best moments in TNA history was, the woo off. And I mean, to this day, if you play it, I watch it at least 3 times every time it pops up on my wall, because it was pure entertainment. So, but I'm in. I think he just wants to be able to, he wants to rectify what happened in TNA.
And with that, I agree. I'm in on this as well. For a lot of what Darrell said, I'm with him on the fact that like the number one match I think of for the retirement match is the WrestleMania send-off with Shawn Michaels. The TNA run that he had was an embarrassment, but when you also listen to the 30 for 30 and the other biographical things that he's done for his career, he needed money. He was bad with his money, and he needed a way to make money, and that was what was dangling in front of him at the time, was either one-off appearances, coming in as like a guest host or something, or actually wrestling and getting what he was normally getting paid. So he didn't really have a choice at that point. That's why he took the money. At this point, it's a very similar situation, but it's a lot better intentions. I feel like with Conrad Thompson, his son-in-law, has been helping promote this whole deal with StarCast 5 since they announced it. So I feel like he's in much better hands. He should be doing this 15 years younger, but at the same time, beggars can't be choosers. So he needs to go with what he's got at this point. And that's why I'm in on this with Ric Flair. Is the way he ended with TNA was bad, but watching these videos, even though it's kind of painful, the fact that he's 73 taking bumps off the top rope is pretty impressive.
Very impressive. I got to agree with that. Very impressive. Man, the Nature Boy, he's the greatest of all time. I don't care what anybody say. He's the greatest of all time. I mean, he's proven it over and over again. In so many different forms. I mean, then you produce probably the greatest female wrestler of all time. So whatever. I mean, Ric Flair is greatness. And, he's not my favorite all time. I love him. But yes, he is the greatest of all time. So.
Well, before we wrap this up, we do have a few more comments from the fans. Thank you for being with us before 10 o'clock in the morning. This is a very rare feat. But my guy here, with it being 4th of July, is trying to be like Clark W. Griswold and take his family to King's Dominion on a daycation. Except for it's not going to be like Wally World is going to King's Dominion. So I don't blame him. He's going to be doing that whole daycation thing.
Man,
Hopefully there's no Aunt Ida going with you today.
No. Look, to be honest with you, don't let my kids hear this, but I don't even want to go. But gotta be a family man. Gotta be a family man.
Oh my man. Whew. Well, before we let you get on out of here to go do what you gotta do, we got the final word to roll into. Psych, no, got him, because I actually had just said we need to go into the Mayhem culmination. My bad. My apologies. Again, it is before 10 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, look, still with me. Okay. We're allowed.
So we have 3 comments that we left to get back on. And Becca Cottingham Quimby comments, are you a Heat fan or a Lakers fan, Darrell?
All right, so first of all, you see wait a minute. I still get you see the banner behind me. It's all about Heat Nation. That's what it is. But, in the end, Shaq was with the Heat. LeBron was with the Heat. So, yes, they are Lakers now, but they were, I won't say that, but they were also Miami Heat players as well. But, let's be honest with you. The Lakers are the greatest franchise between them and the Celtics, are the greatest 2 franchises in the NBA. But they have a ton of Hall of Famers, and pretty much every great player, minus Michael Jordan, every top 10 tier person, it seems like they played for the Lakers. Even Wilt played for the Lakers, I believe. So it's like everybody in that top 10 pretty much played for the Lakers, except for like Steph and them. I can't help it that they were able to grab everybody. They're smart, I guess. I don't know.
I can't disagree with that. Jay Quimby comments on Mr. Steph Curry, Captain Bank shot, respectable.
Oh, yeah. That, look, Tim Duncan is the king of the fundamentals, man. Nobody calls Bank better than Tim Duncan. So, and that's what I loved about him, man. Tim Duncan was just that guy who, goes out there and just plays the game of basketball the right way. And like, to me, I'm not gonna lie to you, as a kid, I kind of looked up to him a little bit because he was respect for the game. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't sexy. It was just, let me get out here, get this work done, win these championships, make this money. It's like Kawhi Leonard is. That's why Kawhi Leonard is the way he is, because he learned from Tim Duncan, but he's way out there. But yeah. So, and then but Tim Duncan's Tim Duncan, man. I love him.
Hey, don't get me wrong. Like, I still like Steph Curry, and he has done a lot for the 3-point game. And has changed the game a lot in, his short career so far. However, that's why I've got to go with all that said. I've got to go with Tim Duncan in my top 10 for right now. That will probably change at some point. But as of right now, maybe Tim stays at 10, Bird comes off, and Steph gets on to some. I don't know. But as of right now, on 4th of July, when we were talking about this last night, that's my top 10 as of right now.
Yeah, man, it's hard, man. I got Duncan at 11, man. It was hard, man. I interchanged that thing like 15 times trying to figure it out. But yeah, but I love Tim Duncan, so I'm not going to – got to give him some love.
And Jay throws one more comment out there. Ever seen her in a movie? She's a buff Kristen Stewart.
I don't know. Who was we talking about there? I'm able to –
The only thing I could really talk about is that we were talking about either Charlotte Flair or when we were talking about Liv Morgan.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, yeah. I guess I see that with the hair, maybe a little bit, but Kristen Stewart, to give a shout out to her real quick, did a really good job in Spencer on Hulu for those Princess Diana fans.
I have not seen that.
I love stuff like that. So I got toot to Kristen. I'm not more of a Twilight guy. That was my mom, God rest her soul. She loved Twilight. I even took her to the movie theater to watch it. She was deep into the Twilight series, but no, she did a really good job in Spencer. So I'll give her credit there. I'll give her credit there.
That I cannot comment on, but but I will say the one thing I can comment on is this time for real, the final word. We've made it to the end. We are at the final word. Darrell, what are your thoughts here at the end of the show? And how would you like to recap this? What's on your mind here at the end?
Oh man, great show, man. I thought it was a fun time, good time, a great way to wake up here on the 4th of July to get the juices pumping for what is going to be a long, hot day for a brother. So it's definitely good. It was definitely fun to get back out here and get on there. It's going to be a busy week, man. We got we got a lot of shows popping out here. You got 2 more shows coming up this week. We got the podcast. Me and Jay will be back on this week. One-on-one is cranking up. Commonwealth Sports Talk, Monster Minutes. It's the playlist grows, man. We're out there just making it happen. Victor with the 3-putt golf show. I mean, everybody's rolling. So I'll just make sure y'all check those out. And then real quick, I want to go ahead and say champions, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Look, hey, I waited 20 years for that one. Maybe this team will finally make the playoffs. Doesn't look positive so far this year, but maybe they'll finally make the playoffs so I can have something to cheer for. That was my first championship as of my team sports in a while. Last one, I think, I'm a Portland Timbers fan. They did win a championship a couple years ago, but of the major 4, that he hadn't won since like 13, 14. So it'd been 8 years. The Packers hadn't won in 10. They hadn't won in 20. So it's nice to have a championship back under the belt from one of my teams. So, I got to go get my championship gear now. Go Avs, go. Go Avs, go.
Well, with my final word, I kind of want to go in a little bit of a different realm with this. And first of all, thank you for coming back onto our show for today for episode 17, 2.0. We'll just keep it there at the end. Now that we're at the end of the show, I'm going to break it down for you guys. We were supposed to do this 3 weeks ago. This is 20 days in the making since the last time that we attempted to do episode 17. I was currently dealing with, not anymore. At that time, I was dealing with some pretty bad back pain that I had accrued through an injury outside of doing videos, because you can't really get injured while doing videos. But unfortunately, I'm a stubborn person. I'm a stubborn guy, and I don't like going to the doctor. And I decided to self-medicate and take things into the hands with a little old grandpa's cough medicine and the whiskey. And it kind of got into a little bit out of control for a little bit. So I do apologize for not being here for the past couple of weeks. I had to kind of recover up and get to it, but I want to go over into like a little slight PSA for that in my final word and discuss the dangers of self-medication. Self-medication can be defined in simple terms as the use of medicines by a person by himself, herself, for treating a perceived or real health problem without consulting a physician or pharmacist. The dangers of self-medication is a wrong diagnosis, because you are not a doctor. You do not have a PhD. You do not have the right to do that. You need to go seek medical treatment. You could potentially overdose. You'd be masking other diseases, and you could fall into an addiction. The statistics of that, 77.7% of people who experience health issues reported self-medicating. 27.5% physical health issues result. Mental health issues are very serious to consider with this 26.5%, as well as physical and mental health issues at a 23.7%. All of these you can look up on the web to find out a little bit more information about. I just wanted to give a brief description of that in the final word. Apologize for the delay in being gone for the few weeks, but you got to take care of yourself. You can only handle what's in front of you. You can only you can only do you. And for the delay and for the actions within, I greatly apologize, but we're here today. It's 4th of July. We've had a great episode. I've loved every single second of it with my guy here. And with that, we do have one last thing to acknowledge. Darrell has been vaulted. Darrell Owens is now locked into the vault. He is in the vault of fame with these guys here. We can now add him to the list. Darrell at episode 17 has made it into the vault of fame. And thank you, brother, for coming on today. This has been a great way to wake up. Like you said, the day is still young now that we've gotten this over with. You have plenty of time left for activities today.
Well, just know who needs Folgers when you got in or out. So wake up in the morning that way. Hey, but look.
That's the best way to do that. We do have, before we get out of here, we do have a little bit of a clarification from Jay. He's talking about Ronda Rousey.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, okay. All right.
Becca fired in with, I can see Darrell now watching Twilight.
Team Jacob, baby. No. Team Jacob, baby. Look, yeah, my mom was huge on it, man. Like, I took her for a birthday one time to watch Twilight. So that was that's as far as my Twilight experience will go. Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
And just want to acknowledge Jay's love that he showed for the PSA. Thank you, my man. Just doing my best to, if I can help one person out, that's the goal. You know, you help yourself at first, but if the words that you throw out can help one other person, that was my goal with that.
Right.
You know, if that can help right a little bit of a wrong, that's my goal, is to help one person in need at least. If it helps several people in need, then that's even bigger greatness. But one step at a time, my man. You can only do one thing at a time.
Well, like I said, man, I want to say this. I'm proud of you because, you know, a lot of people wouldn't go and take that step to try to get themselves, you know, back in a good spot, or try to make sure that they're okay. I think it's very important that you did that, and that you're currently still working on that. And man, I'm proud of you, man. I mean, you could have easily like, man, bump this, man. I ain't doing none of that. But, I'm glad that you went out there and you did those things, man, and you're taking care of yourself first, because mental health is a huge thing out there. I mean, it's a big thing in sports now. I know if there years ago, people would have made fun of you for going out there and taking a mental health day. You still kind of get it a little bit. Osaka can be a judge of that, but you know, I'm proud of you for going out there and working on your mental health, brother. I mean, it's the most important thing to get through things. Most important thing.
Tupac said it best, only God can judge me, and that is legit facts, bro. Straight fire behind that. And with that, we only have one last thing to show you, and that is a badass outro. Thanks, guys. Have a great 4th of July, and thank you for tuning in to our Independence Day special, episode 17. We have been live. Mr. Rollback, Darrell Owens, D. Willie in the house. Let's get out of here.
Peace.